because he knows that I don't have the audio on when
All right,
we're live now. on my screen.
Yep.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
I saw the graphic, which is my cue to be staring at the screen for 3 seconds. Welcome, everyone, to Advantage in Paradise. Lovely to have you here. We're going to get right into it tonight, but a few quick announcements. One, as always, our music is licensed from soundstripe.com, and our ambiance comes from Sirenscape. I'm going to turn it over to Shannon for some social media shoutouts and any other announcements she might have.
Yeah. All right. So who do we got tonight? All right. We're going to start with our awesome partners, as usual. Talon and Claw, Arcane Spectacle, and Eddie York, who did all of our original character art for the stream. You saw Kieran on our waiting screen. Just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Talon and Claw makes beautiful wooden tabletop accessories like said dice, as well as a DM screen and dice ball and awesome things. They play a lot of Sea of Thieves on their new Twitch channel, so if you haven't followed them yet, definitely check them out. And if you want to purchase one of these beautiful dice or other accessories, if you enter the code Paradice, Paradice, you will get 10% off on your order. Same thing with Arcane Spectacle. If you would like to purchase, oh dear, I've got my sneak attack dice all set up here. If you'd like to purchase a sneak attack dice vault, I'll try and tilt without dropping these. This or their spell trackers. They just came out with a Paladin spell tracker, and they've got some Pathfinder ones in the works, and they're really cool people. Caitlin and Jared, we love you so much. So if you haven't checked them out on Twitter yet or on their Etsy shop, definitely head over there, and you can also use the code Paradice for 10% off your spell tracker order. And as you mentioned, Eddie York has done all of our character art for all of our heroes, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. When I tweet out our stream shoutouts, I'll tweet out the picture of all of us together so you can see. It looks really awesome, and it makes me smile every time I look at it. So thank you to our partners. Y'all are wonderful. As for content creators, I'm so glad that Gamer Mom Luna is in the chat because you're number one on my list. Thank you, Gamer Mom Luna, for being just the wonderful human being that you are. Thank you for being you're so positive and so welcoming and inclusive of everybody in the community. And you do a fantastic job as the community manager for How I Nerd. So if you don't already follow Luna on Twitter, please do. You will not regret it. Secondly, I would like to shout out Underground Oracle Publishing, and I'm just going to get my visual up here because I had things I wanted to talk about. Okay, so they just released an Unseelie Fae bundle on DriveThruRPG, and if you grab that, you can score each of these titles for 50% off. Oh crap, I didn't make it big enough. They include, but are not limited to, Sorceress Origin, Druid Circle, Monsters Mythica, and one more that I can't see because my screenshot is too small. But really cool people. Jess and Keith are really amazing. We use one of their items, or Cal specifically uses Prongs of the Black sword whip thing as one of his items, and it's done some pretty serious damage, and he looks cool while he does it. So definitely check them out if you haven't already. Last but not least, I would like to shout out Sewing Geekiness. She is going through some stuff right now, and we just wanted to shout out and say we love you, we support you, let us know if you need anything. She also makes really awesome accessories like this dice bag, this Hufflepuff dice bag. I also have a face mask, a D&D face mask from her. So check out her website and give her some love. We love you, and I'm done. I don't think I had any other announcements.
Thank you very much, Shannon. All excellent folk to check out. So without further ado, I think we'll get into the recap. Anyone want to bet on how long it is?
You've been holding steady.
Gambling's a sin. So
Jesus. As soon as we tell you what it's going to be, you can just make one of us win. That's not fair.
That's a good point. I encourage you to gamble behind closed doors about this. No. All right.
Does this count or?
Yes. No. All right. Last we met, you had completed your task of destroying the fiendish bat occupying the Driftmarch fortress at the behest of General Kinsley. Despite your positive relationship with Kinsley over the last few weeks, much of that good faith has seemed to have spoiled over the last few days. Curon displeased with his treatment of prisoners, Cal disagreeing with some of or much of his decisions and his current attitude towards his soldiers and other things. And the rest of you eager to leave the last few weeks behind you as you pursue new interests moving forward, both personal and on a larger scale. After you settled your score with Kinsley, you had Robert, your new assistant, prep your wagon and horses. You began a journey anew to seek out the township of Oranshire and your leads regarding the Highland Syndicate criminal organization and their activity in the region. Specifically in regards to the captive magical folk and captive mages. Scarlet has never been closer to her brother after he was kidnapped by the Syndicate scabber known as Fletcher 10 years ago. Likewise, Timber crawls closer and closer to his old life and the wife stolen from him by the Syndicate for her prowess in the arcane. The road to Oranshire was quiet, save for a short conversation with Jorhen, the fallen Aesimer you had rescued some time ago from the crude ritual being performed by the stranger in yellow to turn him into one of these geists, as you've learned they are called. He spoke cryptically and loosely about what he could remember about being brought to different locations, about this whispers he heard in the night as he slept, and particularly about the conversations he had overheard between presumably either another individual aiding the stranger in yellow or the stranger in yellow themselves speaking to someone. The only name he heard was Erdwulf Thatcher, some sort of contact, and that the entity only spoke to Thatcher when interested in acquiring more magical folk, those blessed by the astral planes, such as tieflings, Aesimer, Genasi, and so forth. You let him rest for the rest of the journey as the memories plagued him, planning on parting ways once in Oranshire. But beyond the quiet and the brief conversations you had with Jorhen, about a half day's journey away from Oranshire, you discovered a ransacked and burnt farmer's wagon, with several footprints leading to the northwest. The same farmers that Curon had seen on his night's watch prior, traveling early in the morning towards Oranshire, presumably with goods to sell. You were unsure if it was the Zverls that you had seen camping out in the forest, soldiers from the host that you had defeated in Driftmarch with General Kinsley, or local highway bandits, perhaps, or one and the same. Nevertheless, it was a staunch reminder of the dangers in the lands of Zverwold, where the reach of the king is shallow. Later that day, you made your way into the outer township of Oranshire and quickly into the gates of the Tempest Hold, the central palisaded district of the town. You noticed a gathering of bruisers protecting the gates in plain clothes, with no sigils or identifiable uniform. They seemed to have sent a young lad running into the streets ahead of you upon taking notice of each of your faces. At this point, Scarlet cloaking herself with her hood. Once inside, you gathered the attention of a street urchin lad named Druffle. Cal paid him 3 silver for directions to the finest tavern. The lad complied and sent you to the Grace and Duchess Inn in the Artisan's Path, a street in the Stormspire Circle, the central area of the entire town. Cal also nodded to the boy and affirmed that he would see to him at some point during his stay for further work. You made your way to the tavern, exhausted from the last 2 weeks of endless journeying and fighting and sleeping outside. Embla Moreau, the tavern keep, provided you with 2 luxury suites for 5 days, as agreed upon. And here is where we left off, as you began resting your weary selves in your rooms and preparing for what lies ahead of you in this new and dangerous place. We start off as you are setting your things down within your respective rooms and about to take a short rest, I believe. What would you all like to do at this point?
What time is it? Sorry, I missed it if you said it.
At this point, it's probably around 1 p.m., or maybe a little after that.
All right. I am not going to short rest. I am going to sit on the bed and stare at the balcony.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of like short resting?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what a short rest is, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
Well, fine. Then I'm not actively.
You will use your short rest, and during the time of your short rest, stare at the balcony, squaring it up for your own devices.
Yes.
The rest of you, what would you like to do at this time?
Sprawled out in the
we
bed.
Yeah. Figure if there's nothing anyone wants to do, particularly during the short rest, we'll jump forward an hour to when we've all settled in.
I would like to find Scarlet, and I find her on the balcony, and I say, well, I know it didn't really work great last time, but I'm willing to give it another shot. I could cast my alarm spell on this balcony. It was a good idea, just the practice was a little shoddy.
I appreciate the offer, but I am planning on keeping watch this evening and won't need the alarm.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'll let you know if I change my mind.
And just as a reminder of the way the rooms are split up, you have Scarlet in the single in one room, with Jorhan in another room in there, Jorhan's in the other single. Timber, you're in the single. Who is in the other single? It's Timber, right? That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Jorhan is in a room, and Wiswick's in a room in this other suite. And then in the other one, we have Timber in the single, and then Cal and Kieran with their own rooms.
So what you're saying is I have a double bed.
You have a double bed. Yes, you can definitely spend part of
the tiniest member of our party gets that makes a double bed.
Pushing the beds together. But yes. All of you except for Timber and Scarlet have 2 beds in your room.
No, Jorhen doesn't. Robert's in there.
Correct. Robert is staying with Jorhan. Yes.
Don't forget Robert, man.
Fine lad, Robert.
He's gotta go far.
I think I need to make a character sheet for Robert.
He's gonna be Cal's general one day.
Exactly. Or at least my I don't know, Chamberlain maybe.
Water boy. He's currently the water boy.
I would have gone with Court Jester, but okay.
So each of you have rested and adjusted your rooms as you see fit. It's about a little after 2 p.m. at this point. What would you all like to do?
Well, we're in an inn with a bar, so.
Mm-hmm. You know it.
In a town you know nothing about.
Exactly. And where do you learn things? From drunks. Spent many of my best years in a bar learning from drunks.
Was that
Right.
Tim or Cal?
That was Tim.
Wiswick's
so-
bored. He goes downstairs.
Yeah, I'm gonna rustle up the whoever wants to go,
I'm gonna
and I'm gonna head down for. Well, we haven't eaten today either, so
catch
guess
Kieran
food.
and grab my cloak out of the bag. So sorry, Q. Don't mind me, real quick. There we go.
I don't know what personal space is. Thank you.
Cal, did you come knock on my door?
yeah, I would have.
Knock, knock, knock,
I would have just. It would have been a
It's like, we're going downstairs.
go downstairs if you want to come, or if you want us to save you a seat, whatever you want.
I'm coming.
Also, I'm going down as a doggy dog.
With
Okay.
the cloak on?
No, putting the cloak in the pocket. Actually, no, I'm throwing the cloak in my room.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. So I'm sorry, Scarlet. Are you staying up or are you going down?
No, I'm going down.
Okay, so everyone's going down pretty much.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll say Robert. Robert pops his head out of his room. He's like, "Oh, are you all getting food? Food?
Yeah, come on.
Yes." You see, Robert comes rushing after you to follow along as you descend the stairs. The tavern itself is, there's no bard playing at this point, but it is fairly crowded with people. It seems as though, this is on a much nicer street than the rest of the town. You notice that the Tempest Hold is split up between the tightly packed outer circle, which is not as fine streets. They're very tight and smelly and dirty. But once you entered into the Stormspire Circle, it splits into two streets going around the central Stormspire, and you are on the Artisan's Path, which is much nicer. So the tavern itself is very, very fine. Very nice, deep wooden walls with a large hearth, several tables all set up all around with a very large bar that has several servers bustling around, moving into the back room, serving what appears to be a mixture of what appears to be ritzier folks who are stopping in for lunch, a late lunch, and then some who seem to be artisans, blacksmiths, tailors, jewelers, whatever their profession might be. There's a mixture of, no matter who they are, though, they're dressed well. Whether it's a flowing cloak and robe, or if it is just very well made craftsman's gear, they are certainly spending money here. But it's easy enough to find yourselves a table amongst the crowd. Are you looking to be anywhere, or are you looking specifically to be in like a corner or near the fire? What is your desire?
I guess I would, if I have my choice, I would put us near a wall so we could look out onto the bulk of the crowd. Not like doesn't need to be that, just like, in a manner that gets us visual on most people.
Hey, Cal, why are we always going in the corner? I mean, like, I know it's tactical and everything,
What?
but
No, that's not why. No. Well, actually, that makes sense, I guess, and we probably should do that. No, we go in the corner because that means people have to come to you. You're not surrounded by people trying to get your attention.
I guess that makes sense. But I don't know. We haven't been in a city for a long time, and I mean, I kind of want to engross myself in the culture here.
Right?
It
no,
seems a little strange.
right, I mean, it's just a bed right over there. It's not like we're going to a shadowed, like,
Yeah, this
scary
isn't.
back room.
I wouldn't call this tavern the type that has like the little alcove in the corner where you can be like creepy. It's very well lit. There's torches everywhere. There's a big fire in the hearth. There are you can see like very fine paintings on the walls that look like they've been like it's like you go to a brunch place and you go up and you look and you're like, oh, I can buy the paintings on the wall. That's cool. And then it's like, oh, 200 gold for this local art. Mingled with this like what looks like essentially just like medieval paraphernalia. There's like a suit of armor by the two suits of armor by the fire. You see like 7-pointed stars of the Everflame on the walls. There's just sort of a mixture of different things, kind of referencing high living and the clergy of the Everflame.
I think
the Grace and
Wiswick.
Duchess theme.
Yeah, Wiswick's kind of totally into this and wants to order. Like he's just gonna say, Cal, I'm just gonna get a light lunch. You know, we have been on the road a little bit, but I want to look around. So I'm gonna get a drink and then I'll be back when the server comes in.
Okay, no problem. Do you want me to order your drink in, or you gonna get at the bar?
I'll grab a drink at the bar. If they want to order food, just get me something light.
You got it.
Okay. So
I
you
feel
all
bad for Sean. He has to come up with all these restaurants because for some reason it's been so long being like, what do they have? What are they serving? What do they got?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
okay,
gonna
whatever.
lie. I found a website that's called Tavern Menu Random Generator, and you can pick like poor, common, good, noble,
Yeah.
and it is very helpful.
There's a table for everything out there.
There really is. Okay,
So, yeah.
yeah,
I'm just
so
investigating around, looking
cool.
for.
What are you looking for particularly?
Particularly, priority is anything that looks arcane in nature. Secondary would be anything that has to do, like if there's anybody that has burn marks, or if there's anything with the syndicate, if anybody says syndicate, or if there's like this thistle, like on anything.
Yep.
I'd be interested in that type of stuff.
All right, then give me a perception check while you're walking up to the bar. The rest of you, what would you like to do, Timber?
I'm actually going to follow Wiswick.
Great.
And just kind of pretend that, like, I'll walk beside him as if, like, he's my owner, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. Are you trying to listen out, or are you just sticking with?
Oh, I'm listening too. You know,
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead and give me that perception check.
I will.
I'm gonna find that dice.
I got a
Wiswick got
21.
21. Wiswick, you got an 18.
Yes, and the one on the ground was a 19. If you want to take that one.
Sure. Before I resolve those rolls, the rest of you, is there anything particular you'd like to do?
Clayton.
I just want to
Green screen.
slide into whatever booth or table that we had. Now, Scarlett's trying to decide if she's more conspicuous with the bright red hair or if she's got her hood up shading her face. So she doesn't have the hood on right now. Are people staring at her?
Not particularly. I wouldn't say you. I mean, you can give me a perception check to try to see if anyone is.
Sure.
But just looking around the crowd, they're kind of chatting amongst themselves, drinking. There's a table of very well dressed people who seem to be very day drunk. And then you see like a table where there's judging by the clothes, you can tell like, oh, this is like a high up guild artisan blacksmith with some of their apprentices taking them out for a lunch. And that's kind of the vibe of the space. And what did you get for your perception check?
8.
As far as you can tell, they're all busily eating, drinking, and having their normal afternoon.
She's gonna keep an eye out though. If anybody starts to stare, and hood's gonna go up.
Okay. Yes.
So Sean, I'm sorry for this. Would I now? Oh Jesus. Would I know if it's acceptable in high society etiquette for ladies to wear hats indoors?
Give me a history roll while I resolve those other rolls. But before I do that, though, Kieran, is there anything you want to do?
You know what? Kieran probably feels like a little safe here. He's like, people we're looking for are scum of the earth. This is high society. I don't think we're going to find anything. He's his general passive attentive self. That's a 25 for his passive perception, 25 on the passive perception. But otherwise, nothing.
This episode is brought to you by Kieran's passive perception.
Yeah, Kieran essentially is like, I don't even, if I look for anything, it's gonna be worse than if I don't.
Sometimes it be like that.
It be that way. Okay, so we have a 21 for Timber. I'm presuming that's dog listening. And then 19 for Wiswick. All right, so Wiswick, I'd say, as far as looking at the patrons here, like I said before, it really seems like there's just this artisan crowd here mingled with these nobles. You don't immediately see anyone who seems... No one looks like those bruisers outside, I'll say. No one looks suspicious. Everyone looks like they're just sort of here having lunch. The only thing that really stands out to you is that at the bar at the end, there does appear to be an older gentleman who is dressed more modestly than anyone here, like in the sense of like clerical modesty. Like he has like a literal just brown robe on with like a rope sash. He appears, as far as you can tell, human years, very old. Someone who may be in his 80s. Real crooked shoulders held tight. The hair is kind of a messy bowl cut, essentially. Not with like the cliche monk circle, just a messy bowl cut that almost covers his eyes with this very large nose. And he's got just like jowls going down, and he just has, the mouth is kind of sunken into the wrinkled jowls as he's just sort of smiling up at Embla Moreau, the tavern keeper, drinking a very small, basically drinking out of a thimble that has what appears to be whiskey in it. And around his neck, you can see a holy symbol of the Stormlord. And then there are a few others at the bar. There's one that catches your eye for a moment, but you kind of just see them and they just look a little suspicious, but you can't quite tell if there's anything arcane about them. They're sitting on the opposite end of the bar to this old gentleman. And they actually have their hood up, which is what first makes you think this is kind of strange. Their boots look very muddied. Their cloak covers their entire person. It's like a dark green, very worn cloak. The only reason you really catch these two people is because they don't look like everyone else in the room. And this person's hood covers much of their face. Like it's a deep hood, and you can kind of just see one half of the face mostly, which appears clean shaven. It appears to be a human, as far as you can tell, a human man. But the cloak is just generally overwhelming all their features, so it's really hard to discern exactly who they are. And then, like, in between them, there's an intermingling of general people getting drinks, settling their tab, things like that. But those two are the ones who stand out the most. Timber, I'd say you also notice them. As far as listening goes, just chitter chatter. People being, talking about their business, talking about the guilds, talking about, isn't it a shame how shitty the Outer Ring has become. Probably the best, I'd say, as far as interesting things, since you did roll pretty high, there's this very fine dressed gentleman sitting with he appears to be human, probably in his 40s. He's sitting with a dwarven fellow who's very very short, blonde beard. He has very small spectacles on and very nice clothes, a lot of rings on his fingers. And he's speaking to this other well-dressed a human man, and the gist of their conversation you're getting, they seem to be talking about the conflict to the south, where they're just like, you hear particularly the human man say, "It is dreadful what you've heard about Surdik. Heard that he was captured by the Oxlin. Shame what happened to that family. Ever since the warden took over, it is such a shame. But at least when that family was ruling, we had clean streets. Dwarven fellows like, "Ugh." Well, I've heard the fleeing soldiers are raiding the countryside. I heard the you know the folk found a burnt out cart outside the city. Well, it'll certainly flood the markets, I'm assuming. The black markets over in the Gap. Best have us speak with our clients to sway them from going and finding their goods from the Gap. So really the main things to get from that is there's this reference to a place called the Gap, where it seems like contraband goods are purchased.
Is there also a baby Gap?
Yes, and also a competing Old Navy. But
Out of old wooden ships.
Yeah, there's a place called the Gap. It appears that though there is people of this territory know about the unrest, the way they talk about it sounds like it's away from the city. But even more important than that, though, Surdik seemed to have been of some importance to Oranshire. And that's because you rolled so high. I'd say you do overhear that in one conversation.
Okay.
But you do also notice the two gentlemen at the bar.
I kind of like nip at Wiswick's shoulder, and then I just look in that direction.
Towards the dwarf and the human.
Yeah. And then look back at him and go.
Yeah, I think Wiswick was like halfway walking towards the old man when he gets pulled to the side, and I look at him and I say, "What, those two? I mean,
Timmy stuck in the web.
that guy's got cool rings. Are they bad guys?" Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go see what's up.
I'd say.
Well, do you want me to talk to him or not? I say, ugh, whatever. I go back to the old man.
I figured as much.
Yeah.
I would say, before I have you go up to the old man, I just want to get Cal's history check real quick about customs for ladies' hats.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember what it was. Let's assume that was my roll. I guess it's like a 14. It's 14.
There, you are uncertain about Zverl etiquette in the higher echelons. The only thing I think with that role that you would understand is that there is clearly a lot of Oxlin influence in the richer folk of this city. And as far as there's no particular ladies' etiquette for hats, generally, unless they're a clergyman of some kind or a holy man of some kind, it's expected for a well-established individual to take their hat off in a fine establishment.
Right. Yeah, and mine is obviously not on.
Yeah.
But
there's no particular local etiquette for women in fancy hats.
Well then, that doesn't matter now, does it?
I would say that there is etiquette for them with fancy tiaras and other head jewelry.
Yeah, let's go buy a fucking diadem. All right. Well, never mind then. Cal's next idea has nothing to do with Scarlett's hair.
Shave her head.
I don't want to die. Yeah,
Yeah, right?
okay.
She'll bite you.
Oh, I'll do more than that.
She'll eat
Huron. Before I settle, I have Wiswick approach the elderly Stormlord cleric. I do want to resolve your passive perception, because you would also sort of have a general, if you're listening for it, you would catch a few rumors. So
Have you heard
I'd
of
say
the
you.
Sorry.
I say that you don't hear the conversation between the dwarf and the human rich men who are talking about the conflicts or the local economy, so to speak. What you do catch is, especially because I know you actively wanted to be generally listening for anything regarding the Syndicate or Erdwolf.
Yes.
So you don't hear like people talking openly like, yeah, I was down on the Gap and I overheard a long conversation about this kid they stole 10 years ago. But you do but you do hear you hear the blacksmith that I mentioned before, who has his apprentices here. This is a much older human blacksmith. He's probably in his 70s. Very strong looking though for his age. He has one of those beards that's just here, just sort of the fork coming down, and a nice big white mustache,
Fu Manchu.
shortly cropped sides with just a short, almost military cut, really, as cleanly as that can be in these times. And his apprentices are all manner of ages and genders, and there's dwarfs, there's humans, there's half elves, there's about 5 of them, I'd say. But the important thing is you overhear him giving them a warning, essentially saying, "Well, I understand that many of you are living in the outer steads during your apprenticeship. It's a dangerous walk from the outer steads to our forge. Do not walk in the streets at night alone, especially if you are leaving the forge late at night. It seems as though the butchers are moving a little further out of the Gap into the outer ring. Calatown is not as safe as it used to be. So, please, bring a sword from the forge home every night if you need to, but stick together." So you get the vibe that the streets are more dangerous than they were before. You learn that the outer ring is known as Calatown.
Yep.
And that there is some mingling between the poorer regions with the upper crust.
Good to know.
I think this is my most fleshed out city I've ever done.
We're all very proud of you, Sean.
Sorry. All right, so Wiswick, you're walking up to the old man.
Where's our goddamn waiter?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like,
Robert's like,
what
do you want me to
do I-
go up and get?
No, I don't want you to go up, Robert. They should...
Wiswick, go ahead.
what do I know about priests of the Storm Lord? Would I
give me-
think that there was any sort of greeting? Like, should I refer to him as something?
Give me a religion check.
How about a 10 plus 10 for 20?
Dirty 20. All right, so I'd say in your research of religion, you have read about some of the conservator gods of the surface world, and the Stormlord is actually one of the more well known religions, because it is a continuation of a pre-Morrissey conflict religion. So there's a lot of, if you go to the right places, you can find really old texts that talk about the original Stormlord. But you know that the clerics of the Stormlord are called Offruids. So it's Offruid, Offruids. And that they are, from your readings, I mean, your readings are a little outdated, I'd say, from what you could have gotten when you were younger, back in the Underdark. So what you know of them is that they're quite stoic, quite brutal in their nature, of the doctrine of the Stormlord, and that they are deeply fanatical. Now, nothing you see about this old man says that, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are they fanatically drinking at 1 p.m.?
So it's in you know, I without even an insight check, you could get the vibe that this is, you know, tarnished history, like the remains of the Stormlord here.
Greetings, O fruit. And I wave over the bartender.
And you see he kind of like lifts his head almost as if he was half asleep, and just sort of turns over to you and holds the thimble up. Oh, I have not seen a deep gnome in many years in these parts. Welcome to Oranshire. Sit.
Surprised you know of my race. Are you quite familiar?
Oh, well, I've made my journeys to Sivia, took the boats up into the Mordnari Hollow, and I've seen the ditch towns when I was younger. Why, yes, I have seen or spoken with some deep gnomes in my youth.
Were you quite violent in your youth? I hope you've got no rude stories to tell about my kin.
You see, he kind of chuckles at that. He's just, oh, by no means. It's been a long time since the off-roads of Serwold blessed raids into other lands. Many years since then. I was probably in my 40s. And he starts into kind of like a very distracted story as he's just like, my 40s, I took
Okay, I'll stop you right there.
pilgrimage to
Please, sir.
Fiesala.
No, let him go. Let Sean do this for the next 3 hours.
Please.
Watch how our viewers go. Like see what happens if Sean just improvs a story about an old man.
His entire life story.
Look, sir.
That was obviously
really
after I went to the academy. That was.
Well, you see, I went to Fiesala, and then I took the boat. Was it a boat, or did we go on horseback?
And then I peed in a
ship?
bush, and
Was it a ship or a boat? There was a
Relax,
boat there.
Grandpa. I'm just trying to have a conversation here.
And then what
Two-way
did you...
street.
And 3 hours later, what was your question?
I'm just like, I got my head face on the bar, like, ugh.
And I'd say it's at that point that before he gets into
Caleb.
Yeah.
Reese.
The bartender comes up, and it's it's a human woman, bright, curly, red hair, and she just looks to the Offroad and just says, "Shut your mouth, Havard, and drink your whiskey. This gnome doesn't want to hear your stories."
I grab her hand and I look her in the eye and I say, "Thank you.
Well,
I just wanted to know about some religion in this place. Are there no books, no texts?"
Halvar could definitely tell you a little bit, but you got to be careful. You send him down a deep road. You look like you need a drink.
I didn't even mean it. I immediately buy a drink from her, whatever she's got on tap.
Yeah, you can get an ale for a silver piece.
Perfect.
I'd say before continuing with you, I will say over at the table, there finally is a waiter that comes over. It's a dwarven woman who has very bright blonde hair that's kind of held back in a tight long ponytail that's braided that goes halfway down her back. She's wearing just very nice tunic, nice pants. There does seem to be a waiter uniform here. And she just comes up and she says, "Sorry for the wait. What can I get you today? Looking to drink? Looking to eat?"
Looking to do a bit of both, I think. What do they have for the specials?
Oh, the specials are certainly. Well, we've got our lunch specials right now. If you want an early dinner, you'll have to, specially request that, and I'll go talk to the chef.
Of course.
But we've got veal sweetbreads, with a side salad with some dwarven blue cheese, and buttered peas. That's the special today.
Yeah, that's good. I'll have one of those, and actually make it 2, and then I turn to Scarlet and Kieran, like.
I'll have one of those as well, thank you.
If I could do the salad, please. Hold
Certainly.
the blue cheese.
Certainly, we'll get you a nice fresh rabbit snack. Drinks?
Yes. What have you got for rum, if anything?
Rum. I'm not sure if we've got any rum. It doesn't often make its way all the way up here. Usually gets dropped off in Tresix. But I'll take a look in the back. But we might have some. If you're willing to drop the coin, we might have some Gwyn rum actually.
Interesting. Yeah. If you could tell me what the name on the bottle, and I might.
I'll be right back.
Take your time. Go ahead.
The rest of you?
Just a water for me.
Just an ale, please.
Certainly. Well, I'll be right back with your drinks and the name on the bottle for you, sir. And she rushes off.
If you have it, just grab the whole bottle and bring it.
Oh, certainly. This is all I want out of D&D is my personal role play as a waiter.
That's mostly what I make you do.
I feel like
I don't talk to NPCs other than like
80% of my role playing is waiters, 10% is McClear, and the other 10% is everyone else. All right, so she rushes off. Wiswick, you are up with the elderly Halvard, the Ulthrud Halvard. She has refilled his dram of ski and brought you an ale. If you'd like to ask any pointed questions, she seems to be sticking around, just kind of keeping an eye on him. It seems like you get the idea that he is here like every day, and she kind of has like a soft spot for him and seems to take care of him, and it'd be like walks him home after hours and make sure that he makes it back to the Stormspire all right.
Also,
Okay.
Timber is sitting next to Wiswick's chair, kind of still paying attention to the other people. Not really paying attention to you.
Give me a general perception check for you, Timber.
Okay. Ooh. Wait. Ooh, even better. That would be a 24.
Excellent. Very nice. All right, Wiswick, what would you like to ask this old gentleman?
Okay, old food. Enough of the old stories. I'm looking for some magic. I'm just looking to figure out what's magical about this place. I'm on a hunt for some underground caverns, some old ruins, anything of the sort. Maybe you know somebody in town who deals in selling parchments, or literally, I'll take anything at this point.
So you see him kind of like, halfway through what you're saying, he kind of like, he nods a little bit and then takes a quick sip of the whiskey, and it kind of lights him up a little as he sort of looks over at you, and then kind of for a moment looks down at Timber, and he's like, oh, he's very distracted. But once you get to like kind of talking about the arcane and what's magical about the place, he lightens up a little bit. You can see he has this big smile. He's got that kind of like elderly face that like kind of has returned to looking like a baby, but with wrinkles, and the same way kind of like babies look like old people. But you see, and you kind of see he lifts his head up, so you can actually see his eyes now, and they're very piercing blue. As he just looks up and says, "Oh, what's magical about Orange? What's not magical about our beloved home?" Well, we had several artifacts at the Storm Spire at one time. They have all been confiscated and brought to the library within the Everflames Abbey, as they...
What? You worked at that awesome spire in the middle of town, and they took away your stuff?
Well, there's not many of us left in the Storm Spire, and there's... And he'll look around for a moment, and I'll ask you to give me a quick persuasion check.
All right. 11.
Okay. Where the hell are my dice? Okay, so he kind of looks up at you, and he's just like, well, you see, the Storm Spire is very old and very magical in and of itself. Said to be a conduit up to Fiorin and Turin themselves, where those of us left, the off-roads, can come to converse with the storm. I've not gone into the underwares of the spire in many years. Prefer to keep them locked away from greedy hands and the prying eyes of the other conservators.
So you're saying that you've got a secret stash? Well, the good stuff is still down there somewhere?
He just lets out this raucous laugh at this, kind of like slams back the rest of his dram. He's just, "You're a curious lad."
I smile at that.
And then he kind of leaves it at that with a wink to you.
Listen, you seem like a nice old man. I just want to know what happened to your flock. I mean, this whole city is built around your place of worship, and it looks like these Everflame bozos are taking over the place. Like, how can I help you? I wanna make things right.
Give me another persuasion check with advantage this time.
Good. An 8 and a 6. So we'll go with the 8.
Is that an 8 total?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So not quite.
You should know by now. All you make me do is roll perception.
I know, it's just
persuasion checks.
You ask so many questions, he like begs for persuasion checks, and I know you don't have a modifier for it. So you see, he kind of like he smiles at you and says, "Well, I don't quite know you yet, stranger. But perhaps if you come to visit Stormspire during your stay here, you can take a look at the majesty of it. And perhaps then we can talk about ways you can help the off-road, the old off-road here. My flock,
Okay, off-road.
they're still out there, but they don't come back. They're out in the outer steads and through the valley, over the way to Care went. But they don't. They hide. They hide themselves from the prying eyes of Zendariel.
I won't get into it too much. I am interested in the Zendariel person you mentioned, though. We'll talk at a later date.
Cheers to you, my little friend. What was your name?
Oh, Wiswick. You could call me Wiswick.
Wiswick. I'll remember the name.
Yeah, I'll be staying here for a couple of weeks. So if you want to see me, I'm just upstairs.
Excellent. Well, if you find yourself at the Stormspire, avoid the Graces and ask for Halvard. Ulfrud Halvard. And I'll show you around myself.
I thank him and leave a tip on the table for the barkeep that helped me out, and then go back to my friends to eat because probably after that long ass story, it kind of evens out.
Yeah, and she drops another dram of ski down for him. Before you guys head back, I do want to get Timber a little bit more rumor mill with his excellent roll of a 24. 1 second, I just want to grab my map real quick so I have things correct on certain things.
Where is he going?
Where'd he go?
You're showing.
Can somebody spell that guy's name for me?
Yeah, Alfred.
Alfred.
I got the Ulfrud.
No. It's not Alfred. It's Halvard. Halvard.
Yeah, Halvard.
So
I didn't actually think it was Alfred. I was just fucking around.
Okay, so there's Ulfrud, which is the title, and then Halvard, Halvard. Okay. All right, so Timber, you with that 24. I'd say I'm going to give you two things with that. One, a brief continuation of the dwarf and the humans conversation before they leave the tavern. They are continue kind of talking about Surdik and his family. You hear them particularly reference. You hear the dwarf saying, or the human saying, "Well, I thought this was a particular travesty to hear what happened to Thordrick over those months ago. Perhaps if Warden Borg wasn't so violent in his disposing of Thordrick, perhaps Surdik would not be so violent himself." And you hear the dwarf responding, "That's no excuse for putting our young folk in danger and challenging the Oxlin, challenging the court. Well, perhaps you're right, but the flogging of Thordrick is remembered in this town. The Outersteads, they remember. And, Kala Town, I wouldn't leave this city with a purse heavier than silver." So mainly what you get there is the figure Thordrick was deposed by the current warden of this town. Warden seems to be some title, Warden Borg. And more news of the dangers in the streets. The other thing you hear is not from these two, but actually from the stranger in the corner who's cloaked heavily. You hear them talking with another figure that's walked up to them, who is, they're dressed very finely, but you notice with that 24 that they look uncomfortable in the nice clothes. Like they're constantly pulling at their neck collar, and you notice that their hair is not as nicely done as other people. As they're talking to the other individual, you just hear them say, the majority of the conversation you don't understand. It's a cipher. It's nonsense. Some might call it a cant. The only thing that you hear is sort of towards the end when they slip out of their coded speech, because what they're talking about is too specific for the coded speech. As you hear the voice of the cloaked person, it's a male voice, It sounds harsh in the ways that like it has like a very normal human cadence that has this beastly vibrato. As he just says, and where to go? Where to go north? Up further? And the other voice says, sorry, just checking something. No. Further north and you'll get too close to Teramran. Up the West River, you eventually get to the steep bluffs, the mountains. And that's where you'll see the evidence. Confirm. And bring it back to the Amber Thistle. The big boss will reward you. Understood. And as you and Wiswick are going to return to the rest of your party, you watch this person push themselves off the table and head on back to leave. And I'll say Curon is the only one who gets a glimpse of this person. Everyone else is too distracted, kind of eyeing the room. Curon, you see them. They rolled pretty high on there, leaving stealthily. But not high enough. And I would say the only thing you notice, Curon, as they're stepping, they don't make eye contact with you, but they kind of are scanning the room and see you and glaze across you, and you kind of glaze across them. Their features are, you get a brief glimpse of the features of the face, and you can see through like kind of just like the convenient light of the fire. Their face has scales on it. These green scales, like almost like it looks almost like a growth. Like you could almost mistake it for like a disease. But then you notice that their eyes are not human-like, but draconid-like. So they look like someone who's middle of
a dragonborn.
No, they don't look like a dragonborn.
Okay.
They look like a human.
Were lizard, bro.
They look like a human slowly turning into a dragonborn.
Okay.
Give me a religion check real quick, or arcana check. Yes, you.
Oh.
Who that is? I think.
Sorry, I've got fruit flies in my apartment.
What am I? Oh, what am I?
Arcana.
22.
All right, you got what you needed to get, or 2 more than you needed to get. You have heard of individuals who were born with the blood of dragons within them, sorcerers who their magic comes from a dragon bloodline within them. They are a dragon sorcerer.
Dragon blood, yeah.
Dragon blood sorcerer.
I'm gonna commit to my were lizard idea.
I'm gonna commit to my idea that Sean's got one of those Minority Report screens that he's flipping through his. Yeah.
Oh, when I'm grabbing at these fruit flies.
Yeah.
All right. Here's my notes.
Oh no.
Okay. But that person very quickly leaves, and you don't. They only look suspicious to you because your perception is so high.
You got it, boss.
And it's so high enough that you can see within the cloaked head to see that they are of dragon blood.
Kieran, are you sharing any of this with us?
What? No, Kieran hasn't said a single word since we sat down besides the server. Maybe small talk with Cal, since, he does that, but...
Yeah, and this is literally like just happening now as Wiswick and Timber are heading back. I'd say before they get there, your waiter does return.
Hey, Kieran, I made a friend.
Oh, Wiswick. Good for you.
Yeah, he works at that big spire that we wanted to go check out.
Yes, right before Wiswick gets back, your waiter gets back with your food. This is when those of you who don't know what street bread is learn that it's fried brains.
You ordered that for me?
Which I guess you wouldn't really know. You just think it's really greasy, like veal nuggets.
Yeah, it's just meat. Weird meat.
Really greasy veal nuggets. But anyway, she comes back with an ale for Scarlet, a water for Kieran, and a bottle of let's see what I got here. Gleaming Burst Gwyn rum. It is a dark rum from the Bright Shore itself. That is distilled in a small island off of the main Bright Shore, Byzantium.
What's the vintner's mark on it? When was it casked?
Oh yeah. Actually, no, that's a good point. It is. This is a nice bottle. Like it's aged. Probably. I guess what is it? It's 1290. It's 1296. Sure. So it's a 1252. It's an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old rum. It is very nice. It costs. This will cost you for the bottle. I just changed the accent. This was a dwarf, not the French tavern keeper. This will cost you about. If I got my, yes, I'm correct. This is a 60 gold bottle.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, just leave it.
Certainly, sir. I'll get you all. I'm imagining you're sharing it. I'll get a bunch of glasses.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy your meals. If you need anything, shout for me.
Hey, Kieran, I made a friend.
Wiswick, fantastic. You always were one to meet interesting individuals.
Yeah, he works at the shrine. We could go check it out later. Big spire.
Oh, I would very much like to join that.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, he said some problem, like he's been having some problems with the other religions in town. Something about the group called the Graces. Anybody know anything about that?
Yeah, that should be the Church of the Everflame, right?
Oh yeah, right. They said they were taking away their artifacts or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like them. Does it actually? I don't know if that sounds like that.
You would presume, based on this is not the experience in Endurus, but based on the conversations and the things you've heard the general say, in the way Oxland behaves, it's shocking in the way like you are disconnected from it, but like once you hear it, you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. I've heard that the church in the north here is a little more restrictive. Yeah, it's Zendariel. It's the Everflame. It's I think the King Heinrich is a big fan. I was about to say a big believer, and the general was one too. So it seems to me that the High Court of Oxland tends to be into it. So
yes, the one true god, I believe. Yes, Kieran says, looking to Timber, making eyes, being like, yeah.
Who's a wolf?
Who's a wolf? Does no longer phases Kieran.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I learned not too much. The guy was holding me up with some weird story, but There was some weirdos that just walked out. Timber was eyeing up. Did anybody hear anything about what they were talking about?
Did you hear anything about the syndicate?
Not really. Nope.
As to the strangers, one of them looked like he was of dragon blood. Not one of the dragonborn, but one of the sorcerers, I believe.
What did he look like?
He looked human in nature, but his features were very draconic and green scales, almost like a plague had besieged him.
Timber's ears pop up once Huron makes that description.
Yep. Scarlet's intrigued as well.
Yes, that's all I saw, and then they walked out. But I overheard the blacksmith there, Huron motions to the rowdy group, warning his apprentices that the streets become very dangerous after dark. From, it seems like, here into the beyond the walls. So if we're looking for trouble, Huron says, looking around the table, like, is this a plan we might be doing? Looks like we'll have to go out after dark.
It seems to be the only way.
Yeah, straightforward is definitely the only way. Anyway, what is the slop that you ordered for me, Cal?
Some kind of meat. I think it's veal.
Is it cooked?
Veal sweetbread with a side of deep dwarven blue cheese salad and some buttered peas.
Look, there's blue cheese salad. We know how we everyone likes blue cheese.
Buttered
We don't like
peas.
blue cheese. I say like nudging Huron in a friendly manner.
It's not that I dislike blue cheese, it's just dairy products. It's inhumane to the animal.
Wiswick takes
in what
the
to the
butter.
animal?
It's in
Inhumanoid.
In humanoid aid.
Unethical.
Wiswick. Okay.
Sorry. I think.
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay.
I think. All right. Scarlet is going to slowly stand up. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. And I'm going to go out the door, and I'm trying to follow said Dragonborn-esque person.
I will need you to immediately give me a perception check to try to find them in the crowds outside.
Did I say something? Did I upset her? Oh, she's very mental.
I look at Timber.
Yeah, Timber looks at Cal and
like,
just like, ugh. and, then,
It's like the dog sneezes, like.
and then follows Scarlet, like trots faster after her.
Natural 20.
Okay.
You can come if you want to. 25 total.
All right.
I would like to follow behind her, but I wait a little while because I need to hurriedly take the 2 pieces of bread and make myself a sandwich to take with me.
It's not bread. It's like a.
It's sweet bread, which is just a nice name for brains.
Well, then I make
Chopped
a
up and
brain
fried
and
brains.
veal sandwich.
It's the brains of. It's a.
There's no bread there, but I'll say if you
Prestidigitation to float
I'll
the plate.
say you had some bread.
Okay, great.
And you make yourself a brain sandwich with some. as there's a train now going out the door of Scarlet, Timber, and then Wiswick. Scarlet.
I'm gonna wait here so as not to ruin a possible tactical plan in progress.
I always run off with that.
Scarlet, because of how high you
and I
rolled,
are the ones
you
that get
do
mixed up.
spot the cloak as it's turning a corner and leaving the like the road you came from. You know, you went around and then took that right into the middle square. It seems like they're heading back to Kala Town, which is the outer ring. But you just spot the cloak leaving around that corner. If you wanted to
I do want to pursue.
To pursue.
Stealthily. Of course.
That's what I was going to ask. Give me a quick stealth check.
You got it.
Timber, you notice Scarlet starting to make her way there. She's about halfway down the street.
Timber's pretty fast, so
yeah, you'll easily catch up to her. Actually, no, I'm gonna say you catch up right away. Like Scarlet, you notice the cloak, and then you immediately see Wolf Timber next to you.
What are you doing here? I told you I'd be right back. Don't get in my way. 18.
18. Okay, so Timber, you watch as Scarlet, and you've seen this before. It's been a while because you guys haven't been in a town together, but you see the way she immediately, despite the raging red hair, you see her like grab and like pull the hair back tight so that it's less poofy out. You see her, she pulls the cloak over to conceal her armor and daggers as she just sort of slips into the crowd. But you've experienced this before, and you can easily enough follow her through as you're keeping at her heels. The crowded street is not overwhelming, but as soon as you get into Callatown, it will be overwhelming because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon in a very busy trading town. So you are squeezing through the streets of Callatown at this point. Wiswick, when you get outside, I need you to give me a perception check real quick to catch Scarlet as she's slipping into the crowd.
Is it possible to use my familiar's role if I summon him immediately?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Is Wiswick gonna die from the stampede of people? It could be like the Lion King.
Well, I was thinking more of some sort of like noir-esque thing where I just come out of the thing like very casually and just like slowly walk in the direction of Scarlet with like no urgency whatsoever and just letting the bat do all the work. Bat got a 14.
The bat does not notice Scarlet as she rolled an 18. You do not. The Jet is unable to locate Scarlet as she has slipped into the crowd. Timber, do you want to be conspicuous, or are you trying to be, or not, when you're following Scarlet?
Since I'm following her heels, I imagine I just have what she has too.
That's a good point, and you're also lower, so you're hidden by. I would just ask you to give me a quick stealth check, just to see if Wiswick notices you.
He's also just a dog.
Wolf.
I'm just a wolf. I'm so
People will
wolf
explain away a wolf in broad daylight.
I got a
as dog.
19.
So
Dang
yeah,
it.
Jet does not notice Scarlet or Timber as they've entered into the off street into Callatown from the Stormspire Circle. So you're standing outside. Jet is fluttering around in the sky. There's a few people who notice and be like, oh, "That's strange," but you can't get a lock on Scarlet or Timber.
Yeah, after I let him investigate for a little while, I might I think I would investigate too after like the first couple of seconds, like the Jet not finding anyone. But like I'd probably just ask a few people, and if they didn't see anybody, which I doubt they did, I'll just head back into the bar.
Okay. Yeah. This crowd is very like this section of town is very untouched by it's a hardcore gated community. So you don't really you look around the crowd around you, and there's just sort of folk walking to and fro in nice clothing. You do notice the thick of the crowd down the street, where you see there's such a very stark cutoff between the fine stone buildings and the tightly packed timber and stucco homes. It's hard to discern much from it. It's such a cacophony that just looking out, you wouldn't be able to really discern other than that economic divide.
Okay. So just going in the general direction of the like poorer side of town, just as a guess.
Okay.
I think I would probably just look around a little bit there, investigate, see if I just ask people like if they've seen her, or check down alleyways.
Give me an investigation check.
Ooh, 19 plus 7.
So you wander into these
26.
streets, and you look around, and you kind of get overwhelmed by the crowd of people. You hear like these side market shouting out, and you see people shouting back for their orders and whatnot. There's just people. The street is so crowded. Like you're like shocked thinking that you even got your cart through at this point. But you go up and you kind of just like tapping on people's calves or thighs, and you're just like, and you finally get the attention of this one like this one woman who's just like selling fruit from her stand, and no one's really seeming to buy it because there's a lot of fruit flies around it, like my apartment. And she looks down at you and just goes, "Oh, I think I saw a dog running through. It's gray and shabby. Yeah, he went up street. So you see her pointing up the northern road, deeper north, cutting back to Scarlet and Timber. Scarlet, you notice the dragon-blooded figure curving up into the northern passage of the streets. I'd like you to give me another perception check to keep track of him, as he's now within the crowded streets. Wow, he did
15.
not. I rolled real poorly on himself. You notice him, and you start to follow him through the streets, and you get pretty far in. Like you're trailing him for like 5 minutes straight through this crowded street, as you notice him take a quick look back behind. Give me a stealth check.
Ooh, not good. 12. 2 plus 10.
Well, he got an 11.
Oh.
But you spot him take a sharp right, or left. Sorry, left.
Mhm.
And like you're pretty far away from that street, the Artisan's Path street. Like you're almost a little overwhelmed how far away you've gotten from the tavern.
Mhm.
But he took a sharp left into an alleyway.
Sharp left or
A sharp left. Where the shop that's right next to this alleyway, you notice, is called the Revival Meat House.
Okay.
It is not the butcher shop that you saw Drothel by, where Cal gave him the silver. This is a different shop.
Okay.
But you see him take a quick left turn into this alleyway.
Okay. I still would like to pursue.
Okay. Timber, you're gonna keep following Scarlet? Okay. Wiswick, I can say you can run up the street and attempt to spot Wiswick or Timber if you'd like.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Somewhere along the way, could I have replaced my brain sandwich with links of sausage as a scarf around my neck? Nobody gets that reference.
I think I do get that reference. What is that from?
Oliver and Company.
Oh my god! Yeah. That's a great reference.
You know what? Wiswick, give me a quick sleight of hand check.
Oliver
Hell
eats brains
yeah.
in that film?
No!
I know exactly. Now that you've said it, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh my god, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I got a 16 plus 3, 19.
Wiswick, you're moving through the crowd, and you're so small, moving between people's legs, and you spot to your left a very small meat stall. Then you see some cured sausages, and you sneak up to the side while the person is speaking to a patron, and you just yank a chain of links off, and you start heading up street, end of the sausage links in your mouth, the rest wrapped around your neck like a scarf.
Tabby Cat's chasing me behind.
As you are heading up through the streets, what is your perception check to catch Timber?
Oh, this isn't gonna be good.
Timber, give me a stealth check.
I didn't get a nat 20, but it's a 17. Come on, just screw up for once in your life, Timber.
You're so lucky. I rolled a 10.
So I'd say.
So with Pass Without a Trace, that's a 20.
No.
No, I don't have it on. Don't worry.
I'd say you're rushing through the crowd, and you just get this glimpse of a poofy tail in the distance, the furry tail of Timber, as you immediately start rushing forward. powered by the sausage links, and you just catch up to them as they're entering into this alleyway to follow the stranger that they're pursuing. Scarlet, I need you to give me a perception check again.
13.
So, what you notice about this alley is that it is, there's a lot of detritus and trash all around. Stuff that's being thrown off the top floor from the butcher shop, kind of the refuse of the butcher shop. You notice this hunched over old woman who has a cart, who is just sort of like, she's like taking the refuse of the butcher shop to go dispose of it. That seems to be her job. She looks like she's probably in her late 70s. Really crooked back, hair held up in this very poofy gray bun. Wrinkles so deep that they have stories for days. As she's slowly pushing this cart past you, and you look before you and you do not see the cloaked figure, as you just see this area goes all the way to the palisade walls. And there's buildings on the sides, timber and stucco buildings, little nooks and cranny alleyways in there, the alleyways here are very labyrinthine, like Venice or other medieval cities in Europe. And you seem to have lost them. What would you like to do as you see Timber steps up next to you, and shortly thereafter, Wiswick will come up from behind.
What are you doing there? Why? I said I would be right back. Oh, Timber, I lost him. Can you see him?
Can I make a survival check to see if I can... Can I go in the alleyway and slowly look for tracks of where he may have went?
Yeah.
Eye in the sky. Also.
Ooh, hello, baby.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check.
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay.
I'm not even gonna tell you.
These fucking flies.
Get rid of your fruit, dude.
I have no fruit right now.
But you're the apple of my eye.
Scurvy.
Oh my god.
I know. I need to get some apple cider vinegar for these things. Anyway, dirty 20. Excellent. Timber, you start moving your way through the alley, and there's not a lot of signs of footprints necessarily, just because there's so much detritus here that it definitely looks like someone had moved quickly through here, but it's all over the place and it's hard to notice exactly where it leads to. The old woman kind of gives you a nice smile as you're passing by, and she reaches out for a pet on your head, and you kind of get distracted for a moment by this, but then you look back over and you hear actually the sound of trickling water, and you move closer to the where the palisade wall is, and you do notice that there is a drainage ditch that has a grate over where it's draining to, and although you're uncertain if this is where this leads anywhere, it does seem to have been haphazardly placed back on top the grate of the drainage ditch.
So yeah, kind of looking down at it, look back at Scarlet, and then look at the drainage ditch.
And then I'll see. All right. They went below. I want to keep going, but I don't. What?
All right, I'm gonna stand on the drainage ditch, just looking at her.
I look at both of them and I say we go.
Timber goes in the back of Wiswick, picks him up by the scruff of his shirt, and just starts walking back down the alley.
How far away do you get? Because I'm totally gonna try and go down the drain if you do that.
I mean, he's walking away.
I'm gonna look behind.
I think it would be the type of thing where, like, I wouldn't want to leave without Scarlet.
Or I'm just gonna be like, all right, I'll start following, and then as you turn back around, I want to try and get under there.
Are you trying to like
without
follow and then like? I mean, he'll notice pretty quickly.
Yeah, as quick as possible. I'd like to lose Timber and get in the drain.
I'd say it's gonna be very hard to lose Timber because you're in an empty alleyway.
Okay, well, maybe not
just saying, like, as soon as you pretend to start walking and then start running back, he'll notice immediately.
Okay, well then I want to try and get in the drain before he can do anything.
Okay, I mean, you can, Timber, you start to walk back, she starts to follow you, and then you hear her quickly skirt. Detritus moves, and then as she's rushing back towards the drain, which is about like 40 feet away at this point.
Timber hears this and goes, and then just keeps going back to the tavern.
Wait!
I mean, what's he gonna do?
I mean, I want to go. I guess Misty Step to go back to the drain.
Yeah, you bamf out of his mouth, and you appear 10 feet in front of the drain, where you see Scarlet is now lifting it and is about to jump down.
Before I leave, I say, Timber, we can't let her have all the fun. And then I go.
Timber, what do you do?
Let my friends die. I'm going to go back to the tavern.
Oh my god.
I figured as much.
Wiswick, go back. Don't, just go. I'll let you know what I find.
No way. That's so boring.
If this is who I think it is, not safe.
Look. That stone, like that sewer, it's definitely made out of stone. You know how good I sneak in stony areas. I'll blend right in. I won't say a word. You'll need me. What if you need to go invisible or something?
Don't get in my way. And I go down.
Yay.
Okay. Before you go down, I'll check back in with Cal and Kieran.
So, I don't know. 10 Gold thinks that we could probably find a lead faster than they can. Right? You're muted, I think, Kieran. You do that thing sometimes where your mouth's moving. Yeah, it's fine. I assume it's Elysian in nature.
We've already found a lead, haven't we? We just have to wait for dark. Sometimes patience is the best option.
True. But, and I'm only going to say this, if, Sean, is there anyone... I'm looking for like a young group of rakes, you know. I'm looking for like some guys or whatever, like people, rich people that clearly are just bored because they're rich and drink too much.
You know what? I already described a group like that.
You did. I recall that, but I was like, I want to make sure. Are they like 30 and under, 35? Like,
yes.
I'm not looking for like adult. Yeah. Okay.
This very clearly looks like they're probably like
a young bunch of rakes.
The children of guildmasters, the children of, you know, like well-to-do merchants in the region. Like, they're clearly, the way they're drinking heavily on a Tears Dog afternoon.
It's a Tears Dog.
It's Tuesday.
I will make note of that.
They do not have jobs, but they have money to spend.
Perfect.
Look out, they may be squatters.
All right, so I'm gonna size them up, and then I'll say what I was gonna say. True, patience usually does pay off, and that's definitely still going to be the way we end up probably doing this. But I bet you I can get us closer. And I point over to them, not in a conspicuous manner. Mm-hmm. And I pick up that bottle of rum, and I hand it to Robert, and I say, Robert, if you could be a darling and sit on this until you're ready to go upstairs, and then put it somewhere very secret.
like just like hold it.
Yeah, you don't actually just make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then when you go upstairs, take it up, put it in our things, and make it safe.
Okay.
We're not drinking that now. Is my point. That is it.
Oh, okay.
No.
And
no, that's just for me. That wasn't a part of the whole charade here.
okay. And well, are you guys leaving too?
No, I'll be.
No,
Just-
they're going to the group of people.
No, he knows that.
Well,
Robert
he's
was asking.
Robert's
Not
asking.
Sean.
Oh, look, it sounds
Robert
like
has
Sean.
a similar voice to Sean.
I'm sorry.
He just sounds like confused Sean. That's all Robert is. He's my manifestation in the world.
Robert is the
Did
DM.
you make a DM character, Sean?
Yeah. I mean, are you gonna pay
just
for
Robert.
lunch?
Stay. Yes, I got. It's already. It's on the. I'm sure there's a tab here. It's
Okay.
okay. Keep drinking whatever you want within reason, except for that bottle. And you're off. Like I said, you're off the afternoon.
He pushes
Do
it
whatever
into
you
his
want.
bag. He's like, "Oh, okay, great. See
Thanks, Robert.
you tomorrow."
Whenever or later, it doesn't matter. You see, you're putting too much stress on this. You're off for
Well-
the day. Do whatever you want.
All right. And you see, he starts eating his brains
Brain.
as he just has the bottle of rum between his thighs on the chair, just like no one's getting this rum. Okay.
Actually, you joining me might be interesting. No, see, because you can't lie. Fuck. You think you could lie? You think you can pull it off?
What's the lie?
We're not looking for anyone. We're just here on business.
Well, we are here on business.
All right. My father's here on business.
That was
You're
pretty good.
somebody I met up north. We'll figure it out. Follow my lead. And I pick up nothing, and I go over to that group O Rakes,
Okay.
and I just, if there's an empty chair, I'm not gonna like wait, you know, I'm just gonna like kick it out and sit in it.
Okay. I guess just for your reference of like the demographics of this group, there are 3 men and 2 women. There is a half-elven gentleman. Judging by his features, he is likely, like a lot of the half-elves throughout the Quintarchy, half-Quinn. So he has sort of a tan complexion with a very short hairstyle, bright amber eyes. And then you see the other 2 men are both human. They have Zveral features. One has very blonde hair. The other one has red hair. They're all dressed, obviously, to the nines. The 2 women are also, one is human, and then the other one is actually a dwarven woman. With very, like, she's got very wildly done hair, in the sense of like she probably
Elaborately coiffured.
yes, like she like her like servant absolutely helped her with her hair for like 2 hours this morning, and that seems to be what she does every morning. And like the men look like they get a haircut every single day. Like it's kept perfectly. They remind you 100% of the people your parents expected you to hang out with back in Storm Reign.
Right.
100%. Just prim, properly trained on etiquette, but also they're not from a house with as many expectations as yours, so they're just given money to go free range.
Like chickens.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna pull a chair out. Judging by, you said they were drinking pretty hard, so yeah, I'm gonna casually kick a chair out and just kind of like sit down. Just be like, "Hello there, friends."
You see, they all just very quickly look to you in that very like you're 20 and they're 18, but for some reason that seems like a huge breath to them.
Oh, they're young. Oh, they're young. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're not like 29.
That adjusts
they're,
this entire conversation.
They're definitely I'm not gonna. They're not 18, but they are your age. They're not older than you. They're in your age group. But they all kind of look to you, and you can really, now that you're up close, see that they've probably been drinking quickly for the last 2 hours. And you see the half-elven man with the amber eyes goes, oh, hello. And he kind of like at first was weirded out, but then he sees like the fineness of your clothes, even though they have like rough marks all over them. And he's like, oh, good morning, good afternoon, sir. You look like you've never been here before, and your those clothes, beautiful. Though it looks like they could use some laundering.
Yes, that actually is partly the reason I came over here. I saw we were just, and we are 100% balls to the wall, flattery, charisma, like every word is just dripping in just like the worst. The person didn't want to be. You know what I mean? Like this is like he's just like, yep, right into it. Here we go.
Real quick, did you motion Kieran to join you?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So then he is awkwardly standing behind Cal, has not pulled out a chair, has not said anything, and has a very not somber look, but it's just like a almost disinterested.
Thank you very much, and the same to you about yours. In fact, that was part of the reason I came over here. I need a tailor in town since I'll be here for who knows how long, maybe even days. Do you mind if my friend and I join you?
Oh, certainly. We are having a day. Yes, and we'd be happy to get to know some new friends. And he'll like look past you to Kieran and be like,
isn't every day a day? What makes this day so special?
You'll have to forgive him.
What makes this day special is brunch.
Ha! Brunch, I say! And like just,
the fakest voice.
Yeah, I don't, Tim can't even do it. Like I don't even, I'm trying to express
But also, today's the day that Cliff Hall here gets his first I don't know what the term for trust fund is. Trust fund payment is. He is
allowance. It's literally allowance.
I know. That's what I was. He gets his first. It is his first year out of the house. He has his allowance. We've got a loft in the Artisan's Path, and you can tell to them the Artisan's Path, the second nicest place in the city, is like slumming it. Like in the Artisan's Path down the street. It is a beautiful day for Cliff Hall, and you see the one of the human men who just sort of like raises his cup and he's like, this is a great day. You can tell they've been like feeding this kid drinks. This is like an 18-year-old, very short cropped hair, just looks like a baby, essentially. Like looks like a freshman in college that doesn't belong at the party.
Yeah, cool. Well, Cliff Hall, then, it's certainly a day to celebrate. And how about, as a thank you for allowing us to sit with you, I'll pick up the next round. And I do the next round sign to them.
And they all cheer as a very beleaguered waitress comes over and takes their empties, and is like, oh, okay.
I pull out a chair for Kieran.
Kieran awkwardly sits down and then leaning over to Cal whispers in Elvish, what does he mean by allowance?
Responding in Elvish, without like my eyes are still smiling, but underneath my hand, responding in Elvish, I'll say, I honestly, we'll just talk about it later. This really just not.
You hear the one.
It's not that important.
The half-elven man goes, oh, you're speaking in Elvish. You're speaking in Elvish.
Yes, unfortunately, I had to learn in my younger years.
You're speaking in Elvish.
Yep. So I'm gonna start. Yes, we are. Sorry, I'll just. Yes, we are. We I to learn as my family has a lot of business contacts up in his neck of the woods, but it did allow me to meet my fine friend here, and I throw an arm around his shoulders. And in the last what is it now? 3 months we've been traveling. As you know, the money men, they go about their business. I'm just here to lend a little weight to the party, as it were. And then I like pat Kieran on the shoulder as if to be like, don't say anything.
Kieran looks around very confused, bewildered, but is like, yes.
And where are my manners? I'm so sorry. I am Tamlin. Something in some Oxlish name.
Cumberbatch.
Sure. I'm Tamlin. We're gonna get sued. I'm Tamlin Bandersnatch. And
Bandersnatch.
No, I didn't want to do that either because we'd also be sued.
Well, Tamlin, you are welcome in our gathering. This is Cliff Hall, as you've heard. My name is Arlen. And this is, and then you hear the third gentleman kind of chimes up, kind of like you can tell there's like an alpha male feud between them. He's like, and I am Florin. He's like, yes, you don't have to be dramatic about it, Florin. And this is Regan. As you see, the human woman is just sort of like.
Oh, later for podcast recording, I don't know how best to describe that, but Sean just made the greatest white girl drug face I have ever seen in my entire life. I've known a lot of girls and a lot of white girls and a lot of drunk white girls, and that was better than all of them.
And her name is Regan.
Yeah. No, I'm not apologizing to any girl named Regan who listens to this podcast.
And
Fuck
of course,
you, we don't want you here.
Of course, this is Tellus. And then you see the dwarven woman just brings up her glass. You can see she's got this like goblet of wine. Like she brought her own goblet for sure. And she says, "Welcome to Ruttenshire. You two look like you don't belong here. Well, you kind of look like you belong here, but you got a lot of holes in your jacket."
Well, we've been on the road now, as I said, I think it's 3 months, and honestly, this is the first civilized place I've been to. Have you been into Tressex? Ugh, oh my god.
And you see Arlen's like, oh, Tressex.
Exactly.
He's a bunch of yokels.
Wasn't that bad?
I let him say that, actually, and I go, You'll have to forgive my friend. He's from a very good family up in Elysia, and he just hasn't been around that much. So it's his first time in Sveelwald, and his first time really in any kind of civilization. We weren't even in Oxland before. We were just in fucking Tressex.
Yeah.
Before that, we were up in
right? What'd you say?
Before that, we were up in Scythia, right?
We passed through it, yes. I say with a look that says, "Shut the fuck up."
My uncle goes to hunting in Scythia in the summertime. But Tressex, unless you're having a bender in Meduin, what are you going there for?
We weren't even in Meduin. That's the problem. And then we can complain about Tressex for as long as you want. And then my goal is so at some point, once we kept getting drunker, or they kept getting drunker, and I made pretend like I was getting drunker. I would say so. To be honest, like I said, it's the first time in civilization since we left, and to be honest, as much as I love places like this, obviously the beer, the drinks are infinitely better than anywhere else. I think I do kind of crave a bit more action, if you know what I'm saying. And I look specifically at Mr. Alpha Male, half elf, when I say that.
Arlen.
Yep. No, I just wanted to denigrate him.
Yep. And he looks at you and he kind of looks over, like Cliff Hall, after like the next 2 rounds of drinks, he's like He's like that guy at the bar whose head is on the table, and like one hand on his cup, and you're kind of like, oh, is he sleeping or should we bring him home? And then like Arlen is talking to you mostly with Tellus, the dwarven woman, and then Regan is just sort of. You're from Honduras?
As a matter of fact, I am, I say.
And then
right along the Oxlandish border is this cover story.
Does not exist. The Oxland border to
Yeah, it does.
No,
They border in the south.
No, the Tressex goes across the
fucking
southern.
Fight you over this.
I mean,
I invented this.
Who's been drawing the map?
right.
I know.
Right. Well, I guess to be fair, the version I have doesn't have a lot of lines on it.
Yeah, it's there's Tressex expands across as like the bread belt of the Quintarchy.
Right.
But western or eastern Tressex
territory then.
Oxen really actually doesn't have a lot of territory.
Yeah, Honduras is way bigger. We're gonna kick their ass one day.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at
that's Tim's political
map,
leanings, though.
If you're looking at this map, it's a little different. But anyway, well, I guess yeah. Regardless, she's just like, I've never been to Vermelcia. But anyway, Arlen looks to you and just sort of goes, "Oh, you're looking for something a bit more exciting than the Grace and Duchess and the Artisan's Path. Is that so? What sort of
preferably something. Honestly, I want to show my good friend here, who I don't think I've said his name. I think I want to show him a bit more of the more dangerous side of civilization.
Danger, you say?
And I raise my eyebrows like I'm in the know.
Yeah. Give me a quick persuasion check, and I'll say with advantage with Curon like unintentionally helping
smiling
you.
like Stefan is currently smiling.
as the innocent bystander. Like these are like you're talking to like frat kids and sorority kids who are like, look at this innocent kid, let's bring him.
I'm so much older than all of you combined.
Yeah. literally, I'm pretty sure that you are older than all of them combined.
Yeah.
Probably like twice over.
About.
Yeah.
Huron, you are literally twice as old as them, with a little bit extra.
Persuasion, you say?
Yes.
That's a... No, I can do math. That's a 19.
So you see Arlen looks past you.
I'm proficient.
Looks past you to Tellus, the dwarven woman, who then kind of gives him a big grin, and then just sort of nods to him, and he goes, "Well, we may need to. Well, I don't know. You've got a sword, don't you? Maybe you can protect us at night, but."
Yes, I've got you. And I say, like, looking at Regan, like, I've got you. Fucking.
And she's like, oh my god.
This is still performance. This is not Cal's like, I'm a man. It's like, no, fuck,
you have
I
a
hate
sword? And then
I've got like 4 swords actually.
Oh my god. And you see she looks at Kieran, and like, you're an elf.
Yes, an Elysian elf.
You see Florin like elbows and he's like, you can't just say you're an elf.
Anymore. It is the century of the goat.
It's like, but anyway, Arlen then looks to her and says, "Well, we may need to ditch some dead weight." As he nods his head to Cliff Hall.
He's dead.
Maybe borrow a few gold from his purse, you know, amongst friends. And then if you want a truly dangerous night, you see as he finishes his drink in a foolishly alpha male way, he says, well, we could always slum it into the gap and go to the Blighted Row. I've heard there's all manner of debauchery there.
Well, I've always said that it's not really a good night unless you've risked life and limb, eh?
Well, if
Hey,
you
old boy.
and you see Tellus is like, I guess it depends on what you're looking for, lads. Little princeling.
What you said to me?
She called you a princeling.
Oh, I wink at her saucily, and
God.
and it's
You
a
looking
character.
to
Kidding.
She says, "You looking to shed blood?"
In a flirty way, Cal says, "I'm looking to shed a lot of things. If you catch my drift," he says, like kind of like loosening his jacket.
Give me a persuasion check.
Thank you for that. Dude, can I get fucking inspiration for that line? That was off the top of my goddamn head.
I'll give you advantage. Since you're playing these rich kids
It
quite
helped
well.
by exactly 1. 17.
So so the dwarven woman is kind of she does that thing where she's kind of like, oh, he's braver than I thought.
I have so many swords on there.
Reagan is distracted by Curon. She's now been like,
You're
who braids your hair?
My mother taught me, and the women of my village. I do it myself almost every week.
Can you braid my hair?
I would be honored this one.
As Curon begins braiding Regan's hair.
Curon laid this. Oh my god.
We call it the Philistine braid.
But this is like totally the situation where like Curon goes up to his room with her and she's just sort of nothing happens. They just braid each other's hair until morning.
Yeah, is Curon a sexual being in nature? Like,
of Illyvania. He's like, have you heard of Illyvania?
She wakes up the next morning like, I believe.
I converted someone.
Anyway, you see Tellus looks past you to Arlen and he goes, well, if you're so inclined for some danger and to, as you said, shed many things, dispose of your attire, wear something a bit grungier, and meet us outside the Hag's End Tavern in the Outerstead Squall later tonight. We'll make our way into Blighted Row. There's no way we won't find something dangerous there.
well, looks like perhaps Oranshire won't be quite so boring after all.
I didn't think it was going to be. Aren't we here looking for the kidnapper?
I whistle very loudly.
And you see it, and she's like, kidnapper?
No, he got the word wrong. You meant, and I say in Elvish, shut the fuck up!
and then Arlen, in the douchiest way possible, looks at you, Curon, and in Elvish says, yeah, shut the fuck up.
Curon looks a little taken aback. He's like, oh, I just need to keep my mouth shut.
Literally the worst people in the entire kingdom.
I look to Arlen and I give him a wink, like, you get the game. You get what we're doing to this guy.
If you don't know how to get to the Squall District, head out into Kala Town, exit through the Eastern Gatehouse. You're right there. Follow the northern road up around until you see the river, and that's where the gap begins. We'll be waiting there inside, having a few at the Hag's End Tavern.
Excellent.
It'll certainly be me and Tellus, and we might invite some of our Outerstead friends. They're so dirty.
You know, wait, I have a few that have been traveling with our party. They're, security and whatnot. But on occasion, they're good for a drink and a rumble. I was gonna say tumble. That means a very different thing. I mean a rumble.
Well, you all lot seem very fun, and I'd love to see you in the fighting pits.
Oh, yeah, no, well, maybe. We'll see.
And then you see Tellus is like, Alan, remember where we are? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got so excited. We don't get to hang out with a lot of out-of-towners.
Well, I'll see you after sundown then at the Hag's End Tavern.
We look forward to seeing you there.
Lovely to meet you all. I give him a round of rakish bows, and I go back to my table.
And you see, Regan has her new braid, and she's just
Kieran
rubbing it. She's
bows
like,
out in a very
"Thank you.
way.
You guys are the best. Thank you."
Let's,
May the
get
crescent
me another White Claw. Sorry.
Oh my god.
All right. So
I
you,
fucking love bar seeds. My favorite thing on the goddamn planet. I love them.
I have the longest list of NPCs in my document, and none of these fuckers are on there.
as a DM sucks.
Right? I've been there for you, Stefan, in these types of scenes.
How many sewer monsters have names?
Anyway, I would like to cut back to Scarlet, Timber, and Wiswick real quick. Before we
Timber's
do that,
gone.
though, correct. Actually, really good point. Timber, I would say you get back.
He's out.
You get back to the tavern towards the end of that conversation. So what you walk in on is you see Kieran finishing a braid in a very drunk human girl's hair, as Cal is giving a rakish bow to this group of very drunk noble children, essentially, 19 and 20-year-olds with medieval trust funds. And then you come in and you can approach them as they're walking away from the table if you would like.
Timber starts walking up, and then he starts hearing what they're talking about, and is like, "I'm gonna walk to my room." So he just goes upstairs, just a lone wolf.
Yeah, and Timber, as you start walking up the stairs, and Cal and Kieran, as you're walking away, you hear in the distance, "Is that a dog?"
Walk faster, Timber.
Yeah, I walk faster.
I'm worried about that one. She seems susceptible to alcohol.
Well, we can, just hang on. I say as we're getting away. I want to make sure that we do have a tab here and that I'm not stealing anything.
Yeah.
Before I head up, because
Before you head up, you connect with Embla, and she just says, we have your horses and wagons. There is a tab. Don't worry. We'll settle it at the end of your stay.
Thank you very much. Mistress, I guess, would be the official.
You may call me Mistress if you'd
title?
like. Mistress Moreau, I like it.
What? Well, not that way. I was just trying to be polite.
She is. She's very nice.
Cool,
She
yeah,
just
moving
says, moving on.
Moving on.
Before I jump over to Wiswick and Scarlet, I would like to take a quick 5-minute break so that we can use the bathroom if we'd like. You can use the bathroom if you'd like. We will be back at 9:17. Please stick with us. We'll be right back to continue the adventure into the sewers with Scarlet.
Dumpster diving.
All right, we'll see you in a few short minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We are refreshed. We are ready to head into the sewers of Orangeshire with Timber and Scarlet. Or sorry, Wiswick and Scarlet. I only say Timber when I'm mistaking other people's names. Like I say Timber for everyone. But anyway, so Cal and Kieran have just devised some shenanigans for later tonight with some trust fund kids of the upper echelon of Orangeshire.
Trust fund babies. Let's be real.
Yeah. They are like 19 years old, and they are going to bring them into what is known as the Blighted Row within the Gap. And they will meet them in the Hag's End Tavern in the Outerstead Squall district later tonight. Timber has returned to his room out of fear of being pet by Regan, the drunkest of the, besides Cliff Hall, the drunkest of the trust fund children. And all the while during this, Scarlet and Wiswick have been descending into the sewer system of Orangeshire. So, Scarlet, I presume you step down first, then Wiswick follows. As you're climbing down, it is a loosely built iron ladder that leads down. And as you get down, I'm going to change the ambient tone from the bar.
Before we go anywhere, I do want to
Yes.
give Wiswick a talking to.
All right, so I say you reach down to the bottom. There's dripping water from above, melting. There is still really melty snow on the rooftops of these buildings. You are, even though you're not as far north as Sivia, you are still in the north. So there is still kind of a chill to the breeze. But it's, you're entering the end of the first month of spring. So there is dripping of there is drainage going in. The drainage is kind of grossly mixed with some of the refuse of the butcher shop. So it smells horrible, beyond just the typical still water of a sewer. But you get to the bottom, and you look beyond, and there's just that classic circular, tubular sewer moving forward. You and Wiswick are standing now in a couple inches of still water. You hear the sounds of rats in the distance. You can go ahead and give Wiswick a talk.
All right. Yep. I'll get down on your level, Wiswick, and I'm going to look straight in your eyes. I'm almost certain I recognize the person we're following. And if I'm correct, I practically raised him. So he's going to recognize me. It's been, I don't know, at least 2 years since the last time I saw him. But when I said don't get in my way, I meant it. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want them to get hurt. I need you not to fuck this up. And I mean that in the most sincere way possible.
Okay, Scarlet. I mean, it's your show. I'll play in the background. Is there anything else I should know? Do you want me to just stay quiet and out of the way, or would you want me?
If anything goes wrong, go back and get the others. That's what I want you to do.
Oh, I'm not gonna leave you here.
Go back and get the others if something goes wrong. I'll be fine. He knows me, and I know him.
If you think that's what's right, it's your call to make. But I don't think this is a smart idea, and I got your back, okay?
I appreciate it, and I yours.
All right, great.
Let's go. And we go.
All right.
I want to send Jet out down the hallway. Just echolocating.
Sure. Certainly. So go ahead and send Jet down with a perception check. Do you want to look through his eyes?
I'd say I guess so. Why not? Really, I'm just looking for any signs of movement. Like he's just looking for the bare minimum, and then probably running back, or just staying up in a what's called on the ceiling, far away somewhere.
Sure. It's Scarlet. You're about to step forward when Wiswick grabs your hand, and you see that familiar. His eyes go white as he goes into Jet's eyes. Give me a perception check for Jet.
All right. Nat 20.
Nice.
All right.
Excellent.
All right.
On the invisible dice.
So you see Jet flies about 20 feet into the tunnel, maybe more like 30 feet into the tunnel, and he comes to a crossroad of the sewers, where you see there appears to be the point where several downhill canals meet, and then go to another downhill canal that likely leads out to the river, in some way. And Jet kind of finds a place to cling to the wall there and listens. And through the drips and the drops, and because of his blind sight and echolocation, he catches something out of the ordinary. It's not just the rats moving about and the drips of the water and the still gross sewage. He catches down where's my map? Down the left path of this crossroad that goes slightly uphill in a different direction. He hears the sounds of footsteps and then feet on iron bars like a ladder.
Check found him. He took the leftmost path, and he's exiting the sewers now. We better hurry.
I bet he's going up into that butcher shop we saw above. Right.
Does that sound accurate, like, spatially?
Spatially, there's one of two things you can discern based on what you just said. He's either going up into that butcher shop, or he's on the other side of the wall.
Mm.
Because you did notice that this grate was at the end of the road. So if he was going up to the butcher shop, the turn would have been earlier than this. The 30 feet or so that goes beyond is probably the amount of space you need to get past the wall.
Was there a building behind the butcher shop, or
No. There was. Well, the thing is, the butcher shop was attached to kind of like a conglomerate of apartments and other timber and stucco like homes above and behind.
Right.
The butcher probably lives in the home right behind it. But there was like a very thin alleyway along the wall.
Very quietly, Wiswick. Thank you for checking.
Okay.
Stealthing, if you will.
Give me stealth checks.
Okay. Do I have stone advantage?
I will say yes, because there's there is stone all around where you are.
Great.
Scarlet, what'd you get?
17.
Wiswick?
19. Total.
Beat the rock.
Okay. All right, so you start to slowly creep forward. I just need to pull up a quick. All right, so you start to move down this tunnel, and you reach that four-way pass, and you can see where the tunnel continues downward, and then you can see the two paths leading down towards the center. You see a small pool in the center, collecting water that is then proceeding down this outward path. You look up the left side. It's hard to see up past the lip of it. But would you like to continue up the left path? Look around. What do you want to do?
I'm looking for that ladder that was my favorite.
Okay. Give me a quick perception check. Wiswick, you can give me another one for Jet if you want to.
Great. Same thing, advantage on hearing.
Yep.
14.
Okay. So nothing but the ordinary sounds. You can start proceeding up if you'd like to try to see if you can find it by investigating.
Yeah.
There's just for description's sake, you're moving down and like there's the flat ground that's slightly angled, and then a well in the middle of the ground where it's collecting the water that's moving down. In this central area, there's that central pool, and then the movement up, it's that flat ground or that angled ground, little rivulet, and then a round ceiling, the top of which is kind of somewhat stone, as opposed to like the brick wall. It's very dark, but you can proceed up this path if you'd like.
Go cast Produce Flame so you have a little bit of light.
Okay. Give me a quick perception check with advantage.
I think Wiswick's gonna cast invisibility.
19.
Okay. Scarlet, because you cast this flame up, you're walking up the path, and halfway through, there's a sheen across a tripwire.
Mm.
I would like to disable that if I can, and I'm gonna remember to check for fucking traps next time.
That was a
Could
bit
I-
of a bone thrown to the road from the
yeah,
DM.
yeah, I really appreciate that.
Please give me a Thieves' Tools check to disable this trap.
Are you sure this is the right move? We could just go over it.
What if there's more?
Well, we'll just be careful.
That's not great. I
Any way I could help her?
already rolled. 12.
Well. Okay, so
I'm glad I went invisible.
Wiswick, you watch as Scarlet takes out her tools, and you see her start to kind of not touching it, but find where the tripwire meets the wall, and you see her kind of starting messing with the opening there. And it's taking a little while, and you start looking around, starting to get more creeped out. You see a little rat come up to you and just sort of fearlessly looking up at you, as it then scurries on underneath the wire, and then you suddenly hear a clicking noise. What would you two like to do? By the way, we haven't done this traps in a while. The way I do traps as a DM is I name the trigger. There's a click. And then you have one reaction to do something.
Yep. I'm going to dive forward onto the floor.
Okay, Wiswick.
I am going to cast Misty Step because it's a bonus action. And I'm gonna do 30 feet forward.
Okay. So, Scarlet, you hear the trap trigger, you go, shit. And then you hear Wiswick, you see him safely 25 feet ahead of you, and you leap forward.
That would have broken invisibility.
It does break
It would have broken
invisibility. I'm a
invisibility.
big dumb idiot, but
Do you want to change it, or do you want to keep with it?
No, I made a split-second decision, and I'll stick with it.
All right, Scarlet, you dive down. You have advantage on the dexterity saving throw for the trap because you dove forward.
Sweet.
Wiswick, you're unharmed.
Ah, crap. I can't see it. Okay. Yeah, okay. 23.
Okay, so as you push yourself forward, you hear the sounds of crossbow strings loosing as you hear several bolts just shoot across the hall. You are successful in your saving throw, so you only take 7 points of piercing damage. As like it's not just like a single bolt shoots across. It's like it's tripped, and then there's just a volley. You hear like most of them harmlessly scattering against the stone wall.
Yeah, it made noise though.
For sure it made noise. And you tumbling forward made noise. For sure.
God, I'm a terrible rogue tonight. All right. Oh God. Can I like? Are we any closer to the ladder? Can we see it since we weren't anymore?
You are closer. So Wiswick, you are now in like a similar antechamber to the one before, where other little small steady declines lead to this point. And you see on the wall, the far wall, there is this rusted, real grimy iron ladder leading up to a grate that you can see a little bit of light peering down from. Scarlet, you start to push yourself up, and you hear a noise in the distance. You hear a clattering, like.
Oh God. Okay. I want to go forward as far as we can until I'm standing right under the ladder.
Okay.
I want to look for traps while she does that.
Give me an investigation check.
Damn it!
I'm good at investing. Oh, not 20, baby! I'm so good.
I feel like Scarlet would be well aware of this, even if Shannon's not.
I know, but the checks still stand.
Yeah.
That's why I threw you the bone of checking for traps.
Yeah, I appreciate
because Scarlet would definitely know to check for traps.
Scarlet definitely.
Wiswick, with that, you definitely find the trap. There's no trap on the actual ladder, but you start to like slowly climb up it, and you notice that the grate above. You look at it at first, and you're like, all right, this is just a grate, I'll open it up. But no. You look at it, and you can see there's like a delineation between the grate itself and then an outer grate. Where there's like a very obvious handle to the whole thing. And then there's a smaller, like, cupped handle within the total grate. That you can tell, based on investigating it, it's like, if you grab the obvious handle and push open, something's triggered. But if you open it from the inner, hidden handle, it'll open safely.
Okay. I want to put my hand on the little attachment, and I'm just looking down at Scarlet, waiting for her.
Okay. Scarlet, you reach this area, and you look up and you see Wiswick holding onto the grate, looking down at you. You hear behind you the sounds of 8-legged creatures heading towards you.
Oh, no. Okay. I grab on the ladder and climb up.
Okay. So.
Yeah, I open it up as soon as she catches it.
All right. So the bright light of the afternoon blinds you for a moment, as there's only small slivers coming through. As you climb up and pull yourselves up, and you find yourselves in the gap. There's a sale on jeans.
Only place where you can find Jones Soda.
But no, you open up and you climb up and you find yourself you look up and you can see the wall above you. It's not directly behind you, but you can see the wall above you. You're about like 10 or 15 feet into the gap. As you look around and you can hear the sounds below. This area is so much quieter than the streets above. There's really ramshackle wooden homes all around, like a shanty town. You're in an alleyway within the gap. What would you like to do?
Looking down at Wiswick, you kind of stand out. Can you make yourself invisible again?
not really, but maybe I could do something about standing out. And I'm gonna cast Disguise Self. And I'm gonna turn into, normally I'd go with my standard street urchin poor kid, but that wouldn't really look well when we're dealing with jerks. So maybe I'll just
Jasper.
Jasper. Can I? No, I gotta be something
No,
humanoid.
you
I know.
can't. Yeah, it has to be humanoid.
Yeah, also that would stick out even more.
Eventually, and you get the
Can I just be a? I'm just basically a dwarf with a basically similar clothes to what I was wearing, just more black and covered. Like maybe I get rid of the hat and instead I have like just a hood that covers the top of my head, and perhaps I even under my cloak I'm wearing like a short clothes and it has the thistle on it, but I keep it covered up.
Okay.
Smart.
Scarlet, give me a quick perception check.
You got it. That is a 15.
Okay. So a few things you notice upon getting above here. You close the grate and you notice a little marking on the you notice some markings on the grate itself. They essentially are thieves' cant symbols that say, essentially the gist of them is safe from authorities, dangerous critters.
Okay.
And it's essentially just thieves' cant to allow people to understand this is a safe passage from authorities, but dangerous in and of itself.
Okay.
Looking around, you kind of notice you're like on the side of two like stilted like shanty town huts where like the home is above you on stilts, and below you you can see kind of like detritus and other like garbage, and you kind of like there's no one immediately in your vicinity.
Okay.
And you notice that before you it leads to a dirt road that splits left and right. The opposite side are more shantytown buildings. These ones, they've got like a lower level, and then kind of like the stilted porch, and then above them is a very large second story.
Okay.
They look like mockeries of the timber and stucco above, but made entirely of wood.
Okay. My hood goes up. Do I see any other thieves' cant as we start to kind of like walk forward?
Give me an investigation check. Or perception, up to you.
Investigation's a lot better. Woo! 26.
You step out into the main street and you look up where it ascends into somewhat of a hill, and you can see around you there are a lot of those bruiser type folk leaning against doorways or gathered all up this hill. Then you see something up at the top, a large tavern-like structure with a single sign out front that has no name. It just has a thistle on it.
I tap her on the leg and I say, "Okay, quick backstory." Oh wait, I have to change my voice. All right, quick backstory. My name is Abe Scone, and I am a person that you met on the road, and we've been working together. That's it. You pay me. That's it. I work for you. Abe Scone.
Abe Scone. It's a lot simpler than the last story I tried to tell. Do you know that symbol? Do you know what that means? Because I'm just asking you if you know what that means.
It's for the syndicate, right?
Yes. So we have a choice. We can either continue, or we can go back and get the others.
We've gone this far. The others might be somewhere else.
The last
Could
thing
take some time.
one other thing you noticed is you saw where that large tavern-like structure is. And when I say tavern, it's got so it has a surrounding plank porch, and then like it has like a longhouse that like sticks out, that goes slightly into the cliffside.
Okay.
You can notice it kind of the cliffside comes up where there's the streets above that are the Tempest Hold. So it obviously has its own underground entrance potentially. You would surmise that as a criminal. But you do notice a dark green dirty cloak disappear into an alley next to it.
All right. So as soon as I see that, well, they're going to be angry we've been gone this long anyway. Let's go.
So you're making your way up. You are in the main dirt street of the Gap, of the Blighted Row. You can see there's signs in front of a lot of these shanties that have no names. They're just symbols. You see one that's just crossed swords. You see one that is a butcher's knife. You see one that is needle and thread. Give me a quick insight check. Both of you go.
That one's on the floor. I'm not using that.
Better
And
not
then
be
you
your
see
town
one
claw
that
dice.
is then you see one that's like a coin purse with coins falling out of it.
Ooh.
What did you get, Scarlet?
18.
I got a 12.
12, okay. Wiswick, you have like base understandings of this. It's like, oh, there's coins, I don't know, money, swords, fighting, sewing linens, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's the slave trader. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Scarlet, with that roll, you would understand the coins are likely the equivalent of the gambling house. The swords crossed is the fighting ring. The needle and thread, you don't know. And then oh god, what was it? Sorry, I just forgot what the other one was.
Shit. I listened, I promise.
Butcher knife?
Butcher knife.
Sorry.
Butcher knife.
Butcher knife. Oh my god. I was like, where are my
Thank you,
notes? The butcher knife. The butcher knife. You don't know, but you don't think it's good.
Yeah.
Probably just a butcher shop.
They probably smell really nice
So-
meats.
Alright.
You're slowly walking through the main street.
Wiswick's gonna pull out the drugs that he bought like 8 sessions ago, and and just sparks up a spliff.
You'll have to rip some
I'm gonna
of your.
blow this whole goddamn thing.
You'll have to.
What do you mean? I'm blending in.
Wiswick, you'll have to rip off some of one of your vellum. Pull some of your parchment out and roll it up.
Okay.
You can do that as you're walking, and Wiswick, you start smoking the drugs you bought.
Oh my god.
I think I take it very, like, I'm not actually trying to, like, I am trying to smoke the drugs, but I'm not trying to get, like, really messed up. Like, I'm just doing it for appearance's sake.
Yeah, give me a quick Constitution saving throw.
I would love to. It's not magical, is it? I really hope it's not magical.
It's not magical.
All right, well, I got a 4
There are magical
+ 2.
drugs, as Alex knows from a one shot. Oh, wait, what'd you get?
He got a 6! He got a 6!
All right, Wiswick, you roll up this spliff, and you take your first puff of this joint, and you don't know what you're smoking, first of all. So you take a big puff of it, and you kind of like it. I'm not going to say you're trying to like smoke it really, really fast, but you just are like you're taking these quick puffs to try to blend in. And then slowly, by the time you guys get closer to the tavern longhouse, you start to feel tingly. Your mouth starts to feel very dry. and you have a very intense body high, but you're very in it mentally. So
Great.
you're
So
feeling
what does he
very.
look like to me?
Wiswick's eyes are real glassy. His pupils are real large. Wiswick, you are considered poisoned.
Okay.
For dexterity, strength, and constitution skills.
Okay. I can live with this. Those are all things that I don't need. All I need is charisma, right? Because we're not gonna mess up.
You had to do that now.
I just look at her and I say, I grasp at the
No,
air.
that's what you say. Can anyone do the Seth? The Seth Rogen laugh? I can't do it.
Is there an alleyway or a barrel or something I can ditch him in?
I mean, he's not going to be discreet if you throw him in a barrel.
It's not gonna be discreet if I take him with me.
I mean, the thing is, there are alleys and barrels, but like, to be honest with you, Scarlett, like, walking through this main road, like, you've been seen.
All right, cool. Fine.
It's okay, Scarlett. I have this.
Don't talk, please. We are so close to finding out answers. You don't know how important this is to me.
I do. And I'm here with
My name ain't Abe Scone.
So Scarlett, you and Abe Scone reach the kind of like, because like to describe it, it's like a road that leads up to a slight cliffside. When you get towards the top, you can see over the cliffside down. There's a road down to the riverside itself. You can see some other shanty towns. You understand that the gap is essentially just this region of the side of the riverside that they just control. The syndicate controls. It's outside the city walls. Obviously, has ways to penetrate. It's away from the only legitimate town's guard in the Stormspire circle. This seems like where they're operating out of, because no one comes here unless they're looking for a bad time, like Cal and the Rakes, or they have like real bad things to get involved in.
Okay.
You look across and you can see a cloaked figure standing over a cellar door, like a ground level cellar floor.
How far away is he?
He's about 40 feet away, deep into the alley. You're standing like by like essentially the best way to describe it is a Western style like porch in front of a shanty structure, where you can see a single bruiser is standing there, just arms crossed. It's this Scythian woman who's got a shaved head and like tattoo runes under her eyes, and she's just staring at you right now, twisting a similar joint to Wiswick's in her hands, just staring at you. She spits on the ground.
All right. I will, out of the corner of my mouth to Wiswick.
Are you able to communicate with people from a distance?
not without using sending spell. It's quite taxing. It would be a great idea.
All right.
If I take a couple steps towards the cellar, what does the woman do?
What does the woman do? All right, so you start stepping over, and this is probably about like 3 o'clock at this point, maybe 3:30. So like it's very bright out right now. You hear that constant dripping of snow from the rooftops as she's watching you, and you kind of are looking about. There's a light breeze hitting you, pushing your cloak back a bit as you stare at her. Kind of the sun in the eastern side of the sky. As you just look at her, you take a step forward, looking at her. She fidgets for a moment and puts her hand to her face, but she keeps watching you.
Right. What you looking at?
I'm looking at a rat caught in the sewer.
How is that so?
You do not look like you know where you're going.
I've been. Well, I haven't been in these parts before. I've dealt in many sewers, as it were.
The danger of sewers, if you go too deep, you will drown.
I'm a good swimmer.
Let's hope so. She drops a hand down to her waist where you can see a line of daggers and scabbards.
Brush my cloak back a little bit and show her my own.
I drop the spliff on the ground and step on it with my shoe.
Scarlet, give me an intimidation check with advantage because of Wiswick's brilliant assistance.
Son of a bitch. Alright, well, that was a 3. Alright. 13. Not great.
13. Okay. All right, so you see her. She sees what you've done and kind of what you said, and she removes her hand from the dagger, and you see her. She doesn't leave right away. But you see she kicks herself off of the wall and starts to staring at you still slowly back up before opening the door to the gold. This is the gold room that you saw, the gold sign. As she exits inside and you don't see her.
Was she, like, beckoning me to follow her, or was she just, that was just like, she's out?
No, it seems like she was just keeping an eye on you as she retreated somewhere else. There was no sign that she was like, come with me.
Okay. Where is the cloaked figure? I assume they've disappeared by now.
Give me a perception check.
That's not good. 9.
You look over and you watch as the door closes on the cellar doors, the ground cellar doors. They've disappeared down underneath the tavern.
All right. So she's clearly been seen, and even though she wants to continue pursuing this person down the cellar, probably going to be expecting that, but they're also going to be expecting her to go in. Let's go to the cellar.
You're gonna go to the cellar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you get up to it, give me a quick investigation check.
11.
You notice some thieves' cant on there. And from what you can tell from it says entrance by request only.
Hmm.
But when you go for it, if you do go for it, it's not locked.
Okay. Go for it.
Wiswick, are you following her?
Yep.
Okay. You open it up. It's very dark down here, with very dim torchlight lighting this passage. You step down, Wiswick, you follow. And you look, and what you see before you is a long hallway. On the opposite end is an upward stairwell, where you see the cloaked figure waiting.
Facing us?
No, facing away from you. Actually,
far away?
as you go down, you see doors open and light shining down, and he's about to step up in there.
I'll call out across the hallway. Silas.
You see as the figure turns their head and looks to you, the cloak falling down, as you see the face of Silas, your old crew member. The half-draconic face with the horn moving back, the horn fronds moving back with the fringes off the side of green dragon scale, the yellow amber eyes, draconic eyes. As he looks back to you, you see the utter face of shock, like he's looking at a ghost. And he's frozen there for a moment.
Take a step forward. Couple of steps forward.
You hear a voice go, Silas, join me. And he looks back at you. And you just see him go.
Did I recognize that other voice?
As he steps forward. No.
No.
Did
see
I
the
recognize it?
No. You see a shadow, like a long shadow cast. Silas kind of just puts a hand up with a finger pointing up. And he doesn't know what to do. So he makes a quick sign. You see him confused. He does a hand gesture, which you recognize as thieves' cant for family. As he points up. And then you see him, and he does that trying to hide it. And then you see him turn and start walking up.
Wiswick, I think my brother's up there. I can't leave now. I have to know.
What do?
I go forward.
I just nod to her and I say, "My name's Abe."
As Wiswick, you look down the hallway, and it's just like tunnel vision down. As you're
Dolly
like,
zoom down this hallway.
yeah, like totally dolly zoom down. As you're like, I can think so clearly, but I feel so weird. It reminds
Stone doesn't back down from a fight.
It reminds you of drinking mushroom whiskey, but without the hallucinations. So worse.
Less fun.
So it's like this is all the bad parts of drinking mushroom whiskey. Do you follow her though, as she starts heading down the hall?
And sorry, before I add on to
Stay here, just in case.
I think Wiswick will.
Please.
I just like I want to say something, like my mouth just opens up and I keep stopping myself, and you eventually you just like keep going, and like I can't. My feet want to go forward, but my brain is telling me like this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. I was not planning on being a rogue today. This is a bad idea. so like I'm kind of doing this thing where I'm like almost walking in place. Like my feet are just like sliding forward, and then I slide backwards. Like I'm literally just pacing in circles, just not knowing what to do.
Scarlet, you continue. Scarlet, you start heading down this hallway. It's rat infested, and the drippings are heard as you see this light at the end of the tunnel that as you're moving But you keep moving forward under the dim torchlight around you. You step up to the opening. You can see the crack of light through it. What would you like to do?
Can I hear anything above it?
Give me a perception check.
That's good. 23.
You hear the sounds of footsteps walking away from the doorway. They fade in the distance. And you hear a door shut.
And nothing else. It's quiet now.
Quiet above. You hear the sounds of chirping, like a canary in a cage.
Okay. All right, so Scarlett's gonna take out her dagger and kind of just hold it for a second.
I think as soon as you take out your dagger, Wiswick makes up his mind and starts heading down the hallway towards you.
Okay.
Silently.
Stop.
You see Wiswick quietly moving towards you. It's not very, very far distance. It's about 15, 20 feet.
Stop.
I keep going and my hand is outstretched, like trying to grab her hand. And you see me start muttering some spell.
What do you do, Scarlet?
Try and open the doors.
They are unlocked.
I do it quietly, trying to get away from Wiswick, but trying to be stealthy.
What you see around you is a brightly lit chamber. Wood floors, wood walls, enough torches to light it very brightly, a candelabra in the center made of fine crystal. You see it is a room that has an exterior around a central lowered chamber. You can see several torches around that chamber lighting it up, almost like there's a pit in the center of the room. You see several artifacts all along the walls. And it is, so like if you're looking forward, the room kind of in a right angle way kind of comes around like this to the other side, where you can see another door on the other side. And there's this central lowered area. What would you like to do?
There's nobody there.
You don't see anybody right now.
No. All right.
Can I, as soon as I get the chance to touch her hand, I want to cast a spell.
Okay.
I didn't take your hand. I don't know how
I know,
the timing's
but
gonna work.
I'm like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you take too long, just know.
Yeah.
I'll say whatever you do next, Scarlet, is in
Yeah.
like competition to Wiswick trying to grab your hand.
Okay. It's gonna be to try to close the door.
Like close it down, or are you
Mhm.
up and closing it?
I'm up and closing it.
Okay, Wiswick, give me a quick sleight of hand check. Scarlet, give me the same. Or Scarlet, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Come on, +3 bonus. 16?
23.
God damn it.
Wiswick, before you can get a chance, she closes the door down above you. Before you can grab her hand, the door is closed. Scarlet, you are now within this chamber. And you can see it's fairly large. It looks like the main, if not the main hall, just outside the main hall of this Longhouse Tavern. You can see now there's a lower area where there's 2 stairways leading down and balconies on either side where there's a sand pit, essentially. The sand is a mixture of black and white sand, creating a gray. Around it, on the left side, or the right side, is like the general chamber. You can see tables there. Looks like a tavern hall. On the left side, there's a slight dais with a central large chair like a throne and several artifacts all around. And then
What
there's
kind of
the doorway across the hall.
Can I hear anybody?
You can hear some talking across the hall.
Okay.
Give me a investigation check.
22.
You're disoriented as you enter, purely from seeing Silas after a very long time. Not since Gristrom, but also him signing to you family. But as you're frantically looking around, there's something you notice. There's 3 things you notice. Amongst these artifacts kind of displayed as trophies, there's a book with Nordic-like runes all over it. There's a sword with roughly hewn runes on it. It's black obsidian metal. And there 2 are beside the throne. Behind the throne, on a table, a desk, you see a glass case. Within that glass case, you see a pallid mask.
Okay. Noted. I want to hear what the voices are saying.
You have to get closer.
Get closer.
Give me a
Stealth
stealth check.
Yeah.
I feel real dumb to ask this question, but
Oh.
is it locked?
Actually,
It's not.
sorry.
You can come up.
I did want to do one thing. I wanted to jam a dagger in it so he couldn't get up.
It's too late for that.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks, John. I wait a little bit, just like maybe half a second, and then I peek through the thing, and I'm assuming all I see is a bunch of artifacts, and my eyes light up.
Oh, your eyes will light up for sure. Scarlet, what did you get?
18.
You start to creep over. And you get halfway there, about equal to this pallid mask held aloft in a glass case on like a little pedestal. The door opens and you freeze for a moment. Nowhere to hide. This is not a shadowy corner. It's a well-lit room. Wiswick, you see this.
Can I, as the door is opening, can I cast invisibility on myself at a 3rd level?
Yes, you can.
I wish you would let me grab your hand, because I just realized that was an option.
The first person who steps out is Silas, who says, upon stepping out, "I'm sorry, Scarlet." No, he doesn't say Scarlet. He says, "I'm sorry, Rowan." So you see a figure step out after him in a long red coat, a very fine, like double-buttoned suit cloak, a green vest with a gold, like a bright yellow golden tunic underneath, pinstriped pants coming down to very fine boots, a very thin, gaunt face with a slightly receding hairline, with hair that is pushed back and shoulder length. It is very greasy in the way it's pushed back. A very young face, somewhere between the age of 20 and 30. A half Glasgow smile scar on only one side. a ripped scar leading up, almost like a permanent smirk. As Erdwulf Thatcher looks upon you and says, well, I didn't think I'd see you this soon. It's not part of the plan, Rowan. And that's where we'll end.
Oh.
You
Well.
have stalked into the central hideout of the Highland Syndicate in Ormondshire in pursuit of your close friend Silas from your youth. As Cal and Curon plan a romp into this very place. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Don't want to wait a week.
Too
Thank
bad.
you, everyone, for joining us tonight
Wow.
as we explored Ormondshire. There'll be much discussed next week on Advantage in Paradise. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking around with us. You guys are the best. Great,
Thank you, everybody.
fun role-playing session. Have a lovely night. Please check out the Relaxing in Paradise show on Wednesday, where I will be continuing my crafting and rambling about lore. Join Tim and Shannon for the Tim and Shannon Power Hour on Sunday as they discuss tonight's session. And then join us again next Monday for Advantage in Paradise. Have a lovely evening and a lovely week. We love you all. Good night.
Love you, everybody.
Bye.